What's up my loves? My name is Paige, this is Paige at the Page, and this is the start of our Fiji vlog!
Fiji vlog!
Hello my darlings, just quickly jumping in before we get into this. The photos that I put do go through quite quickly, so if you do want to see them, please just pause it and have a look. But I didn't want it to go for too long, so I just cut them down. Enjoy! Hello my darlings, welcome to this video. We're going to Fiji. It is 7:45 on the 4th. May the 4th be with you!
Yes, happy Star Wars Day for all the Star Wars people.
And we are exiting the house in an hour's time, and we're gonna go pick up my grandpa and then go to Ash's parents' place, which is about 45 minutes away, and then from there we'll jump in with his fan band, get on a bus and go to Sydney, and then we fly out at 6 AM tomorrow, so we have to be at the airport by 3 AM. This time tomorrow we will be on a plane
Heading to Fiji!
Heading to Fiji! I'll check in with you later. Hello my darlings, it is now the 8th of May and I have not updated you on anything. We are settled in, but just it's been chill, and I honestly didn't read for a little minute, but I will catch you up on that when we're home. But we're about to head into town, so let's go. Hello, my darlings. It is now Monday the 12th of May. I haven't filmed jack shit for this. My apologies. So basically, I've just been with Ash's family and we've just been having a very beautifully relaxing time. And I've had zero desire to film anything. And I've also had very little reading mojo. Who is she? I've nearly completed a book of 140 Sudokus. That's neither here nor there. Reading updates, I left Concrete Rose on the other side of the room, my bad, but I made some progress into that. I can probably check the audiobook. So the audiobook for Concrete Rose, I made 11% of the way through, but I am really enjoying it. I haven't had my ears in. Normally I have my earbuds in constantly. I don't even have them in now when I'm listening to YouTube. And so that was the main start. I then picked up It's Okay I'm Wearing Really Big Knickers by Louise Renison and made it a grand total of 34-ish pages in. And I'm DNFing the series. I can't do it. It's just not my kind of humor. It's really not aged the way that I would be comfortable with. So I'm not. And it's really painful for me to read. So that does knock the second and the third off my TBR for this month. Whoops. It hit a point where they were talking about going over to New Zealand and it was just, I get it, but I just, nah. The next minute you're made to go to the other side of the world and hand out with Kiwi Agogos, whose idea of a great time is to sit in mud pools and eat toasted maggots. This is very true, as I've been reading a brochure about Kiwi Agogo land and it says it in there. Oh pig's bum, or as our tiny French friends say, le grand bum de la porca. I tapped the fuck out of that real fucking fast. I just could not vibe with it, which is totally fine. Not every book's gonna be for me, and I knew that it was published a while ago. 2000s? 1990s? 2000. I was really excited to be able to read through the series, but now I don't have to, and I can take all of them off my TBR because I'm going to be unhauling these when I get them home. I'm not even going to leave these here in Fiji. I'm like, it's the second and third book in a series. I will just get rid of majority of it when I'm home. So that's exciting. I just brought my TBR numbers down quite significantly. And then I started reading On a Beautiful Day by Lucy Diamond. And again, initially was struggling with the way that one of our protagonists was portrayed. She was just very superficial and it was like, ugh, and she's in her 40s, and so I was like, ugh, I don't know if I can do this. But then, so on the back it says, it's a beautiful day in Manchester and 4 friends are meeting for a birthday lunch, but then they witness a shocking accident just meters away and then acts as a catalyst for each of them. So the accident happened and that really got me invested with how each of them reacted. So I'm now definitely more engaged and only 43 pages in, and that's it. That's all that I've read. That's my reading update. Haven't done much of it. Honestly, I'm just happy chilling the fuck out, not thinking, not having to read, and it's been nice, so I'm not mad at it. Ash and I are having a wonderful time with his family, and we have the Coral Reef glass bottom boat tomorrow morning, and then hopefully the bay cruise on Wednesday, but that will depend with our checkout times and all of that. So we'll see what happens with that. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to go on that. And yes, now I'm just chilling. So I'm gonna go back to watching YouTube and doing Sudokus because that is my happy place. And I will check in with you sometime. I'm on Fiji time. There is no time. Like literally, there is 1 clock in the resort that I've been able to see. That's it. It is very much, you just vibe. with someone that's ADHD, having a structure really helps. So aquagym's been amazing. Oh, and I've done aquagym 3 days in a row and killed myself. So now I haven't done it the past 2 days. Yesterday was a day off, and then today Ash took a bit of a tumble playing touch football yesterday, and we think he's dislocated his toe as well as hurt his spine. Yeah, we didn't do that, but we watched and it was a great time. So I'm gonna leave you here, and oh yeah, I also bought this dress and it's lovely and very, very comfy. So I will check in with you sometime. Bye. Hello. Hello. So it is now the 15th of May and we're packing up to fly out, but I'm engaged.
I'm engaged.
This is my fiance.
This is my fiance.
So Ash proposed on Monday night, the 13th. It was very us, very chaotic, just amazing. I will tell the full story, but we need to get on the road. So this vlog is going to be very short.
Indeed it is.
But we've had a fantastic time.
We've had the best time.
And I'm engaged to this cutie patootie. Okay, I gotta pack my camera. Bye. So it's been a while. It is now the 1st of June and I want to tell you the engagement story and wrap up my reading for May. So on the 13th of May, Ash and I went to go out for a nice dinner, and at that time he wanted to show me a place that we hadn't actually explored, because we'd done a lot of exploring of the hotel and all the different areas, and there was one spot that we hadn't been to together. And it turns out that Ash, the day before, I think, or that morning, had gone and seen it and decided that this was going to be the place that he proposed. So we go down there and he's like, I just want to show you this beautiful area. So we head on down. There is a cat that followed us all the way down from reception to this little fish pond area, and it was just wrapping itself around my legs and like just being there, and it was very cute. We called it Bouncer because we had seen it the night before outside the fancy restaurant. And so it was like the bouncer to the club. Ash was saying all these beautiful and wonderful and very kind things about me and our relationship and how we've grown together as people and how amazing it is, and he's adorable. And then he sat on a log that was, or like the fencing that was there, because the day before he had dislocated his toe playing touch footy, so he couldn't get down on one knee because it was wet and he probably wouldn't have been able to get back up. So he sat on this log and grabbed my hands and asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And yeah, then the cat was still trying to show him up the entire time. It was great, very on brand for us. We went to go to dinner at the fancy restaurant and they hadn't taken my booking, so love that. So we ended up going to the grill bar, but that worked out perfectly. I had FaceTime mum to let her know what had happened, and she was all like, ah, and I was like, ah, this is my fiance, ah. And then I really wanted to tell Ash's family because they were with us, but we were going to go to dinner, and on the way to the grill bar, which was in another section of the resort, we ended up running into them, so we could tell them all, and it was just like, oh, the happies. And so we had dinner and then we're back to the room and I FaceTime quite a few people. So that was cute. And my dad was asleep when I told mum, so I think she sent through a Facebook message on his behalf for him like congratulating us, and that was really sweet. And we told Ash, the rest of Ash's family, via the family chat, and his nan was super excited and told his work, which was so sweet. And we had befriended a guy at the resort, and Ash's mum ended up telling him the next day because she was just so excited. And yeah, so it was all really lovely. I told mum to tell her best friend because I knew that she was going to be so excited that she probably wouldn't be able to help herself, and I wanted to let her just enjoy the moment and tell what she needed to do. I also messaged my co-worker and said that we would walk around the resort, and everyone you greet, you say bula bula, and then you have a service, Vinaka, as thank you, and they'd walk away, and then I'd be like, I'm engaged, this is my fiance before, I misspelled it when messaging my co-worker. So that gave her a giggle and is now a running joke between Ash and I that he's my finance and that I'm his. So yeah, just... You is my finance! I is your finance!
You're my finance?
Yeah!
Yay!
And yeah, it's just been really, really lovely. It's been nearly 3 weeks and it still hasn't really sunk in. I'm planning a wedding, but there's no date selected. Ash and I are not in any rush to have the wedding. We're thinking like 3 years will probably be a good amount of time to be able to save, but also not too long for our older family members to be able to come and have a good time and not have to worry. So that's where we're sitting with that. And yeah, if there's any other thing you want to know, feel free to ask and I'll answer them in the comments. People may be confused because I've always worn this ring on this finger, but this was a ring that I bought after my grandpa gave me some money. So this finger was the only one I didn't get dermatitis from the ring from. At the moment we're doing okay on this one, which is nice, but I do expect to have a flare up and not be able to wear it on this finger. So that's why I've always worn it on this hand, but now I get to wear this one. And Ash and I actually bought this ring together 3 months into dating. We've had it for a while. I told that to one of the practice directors for where I work and he's like, yeah, no, I would have been murdered if I held onto that ring for any amount of time if his wife knew that he had it. And I was like, yeah, it was Ash's decision to do it when he wanted to and do it in the way that he felt comfortable with. And I knew that we had the ring, obviously. I had a photo of it, but I sort of forgot what it looked like. And in the photo that I had, it didn't look quite the same. So I was thinking it was a completely different ring at one point. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's still beautiful. So that gives me a good giggle every time I think of that. It was just one of those things, like I've always known Ash was going to be my person, and for us, we've been an old married couple since we got together. Like the need to get married is not really a necessity for our relationship. We would just like to, so then it's official because we want to get married, but the timing of that is not really necessary for our relationship. We're happy to be dating for 10 years, you know, it doesn't matter. We are already an old married couple. So that's sort of where that all lies. Speaking of old married couple, please let me know in the comments, whose job is it to empty your pockets before putting them in? Like, do you empty, is it my responsibility if I'm wearing my jeans before I put them in the dirty laundry to empty my pockets? Or is it the person that does the washing to check the pockets before it goes into the machine? This is our old married couple.
Before you put them in the damn basket.
No, because you gotta check the pockets anyway before it goes into the washing machine to make sure there isn't going to be anything.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't empty them beforehand.
So this is our current marriage debate. Let us know.
This is like the most argumentative argument we've had the entire time in our relationship.
100%. The funny thing is, we're both right. I should empty my pockets before putting them in the dirty laundry, but Ash should also check the pockets when he's doing the laundry before putting them in the washing machine.
Yeah, but you should stop putting them in the fucking laundry when tissue's filling.
But you still need to check them.
Your tissue should go in the bin, not in your pockets anyway.
No, I might need it later, and I might be in a situation where I don't have a tissue except for the one in my pocket. It's a safety mechanism. Because I don't currently have a tissue box in front of me right this minute. Am I going to have to go into that bin and get a dirty tissue if I start having a sneezing attack? No. But if it's in my pocket, it's not dirty. Or it's slightly not as bad as being in the bin dirty.
Or you could just go and find a fresh tissue that is a room away.
But what if it's not? What if we've run out of tissues? See? Do you see?
Find an old shirt.
I love you.
Wow.
This is the most argumentative Ash and I have been in our entire relationship. We've never come across a problem that we both haven't just immediately accepted the answer to. And like, we know the answer is both. We're still arguing about it. Let me know in the comments your opinion on that one. And then the last thing I want to do for this vlog is actually wrap up May, because I didn't read that much and I don't think it's really worth my time to do a separate wrap up. Woo, that was bright. When I'm going to do my haul anyway, which is also small, so I could technically combine those two together, but we're here now. Oh, good lord, that's bright. Anyway, so let's have a look. So I'll go through the stats and then just talk over the books that I read and then wrap this up. So in the month of May, I read 6 books. That's it, which totaled to 1,872 pages. My pages per day was 60. I don't know the last time I read on average 60 pages a day. And I am confident that there were days that I did not read at all. But my average pages per book was 312, which wasn't too bad considering I couldn't get any chunky boys into my brain. I read 3 books that were 200 pages. I read 2 that were 300 and 1 that was in the 400s. My average rating was a 4.33. I read 1 contemporary, 2 fantasy, 2 graphic novels and 1 sci-fi. I listened to 2 pure audiobooks. I read 2 books physically and then had the physical audiobook combination for another 2. I read 2 middle grade, 3 young adult and 1 adult. And for ratings, I had 2 3.5s, 1 4-star and 3 5-stars. I read 1 standalone. I started 1 new series. I continued with 2 series. I caught up on 1 series and finished 1. So very happy with that. My biggest book was Graceling by Kirsten Kashaw, which was 471 pages. And my smallest book was Detective Beans and the Case of the Missing Hat by Lee Chen, which was 208. And my listening hours was 16.5. And most of that was done in the past 3 days. My battery's about to die, so I'm going to swap that and come back and actually talk about the books now that we've finished the stats. Sorry for the angle change. The first thing that I finished on the 19th of May was Lightfall, The Dark Times by Tim Probert, and this is the 3rd in the Lightfall series, and I am now back up to date with this. I adore this series so much. The anxiety rep in it is beautiful. The dynamics between the characters are becoming a lot more nuanced, and the whole story of it is just so sweet. I won't show you any more than the artwork on the front cover because I don't really want to spoil the plot and what's going on, but it is just a beautiful, gorgeous graphic novel series, so obviously gave this 5 stars. Then the next thing I finished was on the 24th of May, but I sort of put it as majority reading it from the 20th of May to the 24th, and that's Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, and this is ticking one of my rainbow shelf. Why am I like this? I don't know. And I ended up giving this a 4 stars. I think it's a really important read, and I think that teenagers, especially the upper young adults, would get a lot out of this. This is dealing with teenage pregnancy and becoming a father, as well as being part of a gang and the lengths that people that will go to be able to support their families and what they need to do in those situations of poverty. I think that the characters in this were exceptionally well done, and I found that it was a very impactful book. I don't think it had the same nuance that The Hate You Give has, which is why it didn't creep into that 5-star bracket, but I still think that, and I also think being in a reading slump for me just hindered my enjoyment for a lot of things, so not necessarily the book's fault, and I think that the value of it or the greater community would be so beneficial to have out there. Really enjoyed it. Then I read Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon, which is the 2nd in the Ice Planet Barbarian series, which I gave a 3.5. I enjoyed our female protagonist's need and desire for survival and her capabilities and strength of character, but the love interest was such an alpha hole, and it was just not. There's so many blurred lines of consent, and they're like, I don't agree to this, but also like, I'm kind of stuck with it now, so okay. I'm just like, what the fuck, broskies? But I get it, and it was validated, justified, however you have it. It just, overall, I really enjoyed reading the female protagonist's section because she was fucking on it, but then reading the other half from the male perspective just didn't quite click. But then there were elements of him that I did enjoy when he wasn't being a fucking dick shit, so that's where we've landed for that one. I will continue on with the series because there's still more that I want to view and see. I feel like we'll get there eventually. I hope. I need to get there eventually. But for now, 3.5, a mixed read, but I think that's the thing. I've really enjoyed the female protagonists' perspectives because of their strength of character, but the like blurred lines of consent is where I'm not happy with, but then it takes two to consent, so I don't know. Then I went into Ash's work on Wednesday and he goes, we've got this in, what do you think? And I couldn't put it down. And that is Detective Beans and the Case of the Missing Hat by Lee Chen. This is a gorgeous graphic novel that is following this cat who wants to be a detective and he loses his hat. It was so fucking wholesome and precious. The mystery was actually like hilariously glorious and it dealt with some interesting themes in the process of the story, which I think is a true testament to it because it is for young readers. It is not complex text, so there's only so much it could do and it did it so well. And honestly, I just needed it. I needed that to kick back my reading to go, yes, this is why I love reading. Seeing shit like this, having this feeling of serotonin and not being able to put this book down is exactly what I needed. It doesn't have, you know, the things that I usually have been going towards in picture books and young readers with representation of sorts, but it was just a really pure read and I would recommend it, especially if you like cats. Then the next book that I finished was Graceling by Kirsten Kershaw, and I've marked it as 5 on my spreadsheet. It is very tentative between 4.5 and 5 stars because I really got hooked into this and it surprised me because I didn't know what to expect going in. I knew that our protagonist was a very strong character who had the capability to kill people with her bare hands. Where that was going to go, how it was going to play out, the moral dilemmas of being that type of character, didn't know how it was going to be explored. Really enjoyed it. I think that the thinking behind your grace and how it works was very, very interesting, seeing the shift throughout the novel. And obviously I don't want to like spoil anything, but seeing these characters come into their own was amazing. And I think that the ending really landed something that can be quite difficult to navigate in a fantasy world. I've really enjoyed seeing the representation. Obviously I would like to hear more on Voices reviews on the ending, but I'm very curious for where this series goes. I think that we're following other characters. I don't know if we're following the same characters throughout the main trilogy, but I do know we follow other characters at some point. So I'm curious to see where it actually goes. And I really, really enjoyed it. It really caught me by surprise. So I'm very happy to have ticked that one off for my Bookish Peeps. And I need to read 3 more in the series, 2 more in the series, I think, to have completed a book freak named Mel's challenge. It was, again, a nice surprising read. And then the last thing that I finished was Camelot Betrayal by Kirsten White. This has done my head in, finishing Kirsten Kershaw and then Kirsten White. Fucking did my noggin in. I didn't think this was the author because I was like, no, the book I just read was Kirsten. Anyway, regardless, I ended up giving this a 3.5. I think I really enjoyed the Guinevere Deception when I read it, but this just very whiny protagonist. And I could just easily zone out. So I was playing The Sims while listening to a lot of this, and it was very easy to like just skip over parts, come back in and immediately pick up what I had read without actually retaining it. Because you're like, oh, okay, they're here now, they're doing this must have happened. Yep, that happened, cool. And yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna go because I haven't heard anyone talk about the 3rd book, so I don't know if it's gonna land it. We'll see. I do enjoy Guinevere's magic. It's just the way that they navigate things, I'm finding it's a choice. But the ending also has started to re-engage my interest because it's going in a different route than I expected, which is good. We want that. So I don't know how we'll go with the last book of the trilogy, but I gave this a 3.5. I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's a good book. It's just not the caliber that I was looking for, especially after reading Graceling, and the 2 were very similar. They were very similar settings, very different stories, very different protagonists, and I think that was just a bit of a clash, but it's done. So these are the 3 physical books that I read off my shelves, and then there was Barbarian Alien, Detective Beans, and Graceling. And so that is my little reading wrap up. I did get 88 pages into Physic by Angie Sage. May continue this if it fits a prompt for the Amazing Readathon, but my audiobook ran out, so it got returned, and I just didn't feel like continuing reading it physically because I really do enjoy the audiobooks. And then I also got 72 pages into On a Beautiful Day by Lucy Diamond, and again, might pick this up for the Amazing Readathon if I need to, because I think you have to be less than halfway, and I'm definitely got more than that to go for these. So that's where I ended up for those. And yeah, vlog and wrap up. I'm engaged! So let me know in the comments anything you want to let me know about the vlog portion, my wrap up, what have you. I would just love to hear all your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe. I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!